Oh, look, it's the other way around.
Just
There
makes
we go.
sense.
Well, there we go. There we go. We are live. We're going live with my friend Erin. Erin is an ethical vegan, and she is trying to do a raw diet for the month of April. And it just so happened that we had the bundle, so she got the bundle to help her on her journey with raw foods. And we're going to talk about raw food struggles and the difficulties that an ICU RN deals with working 12 hours a day and how to incorporate more raw. So let's have join us. We're going to talk a lot. Hello, Jody. Oh, everybody. Awesome. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome. Erin!
Hi!
Hi.
Hey guys!
It's so lovely to have you on.
It's so nice to finally do. I'm so excited. Hi guys!
Hello, everybody. Yeah, so everybody, this is Erin. She's an ICU RN. So tell us just a little bit about what you do in a day for your job and how you're finding that with doing raw, because you're vegan, but you wanted to do raw. So let's
Yes.
chat a little bit about that, because working, you have a job. So
Yeah. So I'm a cardiac intensive care nurse. So I deal primarily with patients after they have open heart surgery, and they come directly from the surgery OR to me and to our department. So it's a very high stress. It's very busy. It's go, go, go constantly. And we don't only deal with those kind of patients. We deal with them a couple days after surgery as well. So lots of education, lots of dietary and lifestyle education. I actually do work with a vegan doctor. So when we do get to work together on the same patient, we're very excited on, being able to deliver the same information. But we do work 12-hour days. So we technically get two 30-minute breaks and a 15 minutes if we have a break nurse. So it isn't difficult to get the food, to be able to eat it, but it is with the raw, it takes a lot more chewing. So it takes a little bit more time. But it's such a fast-paced environment that I feel like I'm probably burning way more calories than I'm actually eating or that I think that I'm eating. So yeah, that's kind of like my day in a nutshell. So I kind of start off, like I always have two smoothies with me. I have one in the morning and usually one about, so I work 7 a.m. to like 7:30 p.m. And so I usually have one around like the 8 o'clock hour and then another one in like the 5 o'clock hour to kind of get me over that like hump to get to shift change to get home and have dinner. And then I've been bringing a big salad with me with, one of your dressings from your dips and dressings book or the tzatziki sauce from the burger book. Oh my God. Like that is such a good, oh man, that one was
right.
a
I know.
really awesome surprise.
We've been friends for a while, and I've never heard you so excited over a sauce before.
I know. Like, I love your French dressing. That's my first love. I'd never had a French dressing before in my life, and I've made yours for the first time ever, when I got the book, and I was like, this is delicious. And so I could live off of that dressing all the time. But yeah, I made the falafel burger and the dressing. My husband and I too were just like, this is so good. So I bring a big salad to have for my 30 minutes, and it kind of takes me both of those to finish the whole thing, but at least I have the salad at the end of the day. I've been taking a lot of fruit, strawberries, grapes, whatever fruit I have cut up. I have a little thing of dates that I always have just to, like, if I'm starving, I can shove that in my mouth really quick. Lots of water. But I did find out, I have a pattern that I figured out where I'm not being successful. And I am I'm not like trying to be perfect. I'm not trying to be 100%. This is all very much a learning opportunity for me, and I'm learning so much. But I think that the whole planning thing is really where I'm struggling a lot. And it always has to do with dinner times. So especially on work days. I come home and I'm so tired and I'm so hungry, and let's just go up, because today's the 9th, right? So let's just go up to the 8th. So from April 1st to April 8th, out of, what is that? 24 meals, technically, 3 times 8, right? I've had 4 meals that were cooked vegan meals, and they were all at dinner time. So there's a pattern there.
Yeah.
And it always is after either an insanely busy day at work or after being gone all day from home. So planning is something that I think is super important that I need to find time to do. But I was going to ask you, Lissa, like, do you have any suggestions on what to do in those situations where I get home and I'm wiped out and I don't have even the brain cells to think about making something? Like, what do you think I could quickly do, or do you have any ideas?
My best suggestion is to either do a smoothie or make an ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah, at least to get something in you, because if you go long periods without eating enough, then all of a sudden, that's okay. Puppies.
I'm gonna move inside. Jeepers.
And Nicole says nighttime is always the roughest for me too. And for most people it is, because we've gone all day, we've burned all our calories for the day, we are stressed out, we're tired, we've lost that like motivation,
totally
healthy, and it's that final moment where it's like you either make the good choice or you don't. And in order to make the good choice, you have to be prepared, or you have to have something really simple to make. So ice cream or smoothies are great. Another tip that I would have for you, and this might help a lot, is, you know, when you make your lunch dressing, make a double batch and have that in the fridge ready to go. And then when you're chopping your salad for lunch, chop extra for dinner, because you're going to be chopping anyways, right? Another head of lettuce, chop extra tomatoes. It'll take a couple extra minutes, but now you're not washing your cutting board and your knife and everything a second time at dinner time.
Okay.
So if you have all of those,
I'm taking notes.
good.
Make double.
Northern Dancer has a good thing. She says, I have all the time and I still mess up. This is another thing too. It doesn't matter if you're at work for 12 hours out of the day, if you work from home, if you have all the time in the world, if you're single, if you're married, if you have a big family, if it's just you, it doesn't matter. Because if it's important, you will make it a priority. And people do this all the time, right? They make all kinds of things a priority over doing the prep. And we have to do the prep when we feel energetic. So obviously after a 12-hour day is not the time to do prep. But yeah, first thing in the morning, if you can go to bed a little earlier because you've had a long day, you deserve an extra half hour or an hour of sleep, right? If you go to bed a little earlier, you can wake up even just a half an hour earlier, because then you can blend a double batch of dressing for when you get home, and then make extra lettuce, like chop an extra head or two of lettuce, chop extra tomatoes, spiralize extra zucchini. And also another great tip is to go to a place like a wholesaler for restaurants. Nate and I go to Smart Food Service, and they sell like bags, like they're this big, bags of shredded cabbage, and we just take handfuls in, and it's like there's half our salad.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna write that down too, like pre-cut vegetables. Yeah,
pre-cut vegetables. Already grated carrots. They have bags, like big bags of already grated carrots. And if you're eating a lot, you'll go through it, right? Because like we'll go through a big, huge bag, less than a week, and between the two of us. So it's way less expensive because you're buying bulk, and it's already done for you. You just have to toss it into a bowl and you're good to go, right?
That's a really good idea. And we live very close to each other, so I know Smart Food Service. I'm just going to probably go there after this live and grab all the things that I do work there 3 days, so that'll be helpful to have that already done and just focus on the dressings at that point.
Yes. And somebody here, you guys are all taking notes. This is like a live coaching call. So everybody's learning with everyone here. These are big problems.
Yeah, I'm glad, because I feel like too, because all the people that are in my we had like a group chat that we made out of the Raw Vegan April for my post, because people were like, oh my God, I want to join you. So we just made this chat group, and it's been so nice, you know, just bouncing ideas off of each other and showing what we've been making and sharing recipes. But everybody's kind of struggling with I work, I don't have time to prep or brain cells because I'm exhausted to prep after work kind of stuff. So this is like so helpful. It's awesome.
Oh, I'm so glad that it's helpful. But yeah, the prep is essential. Like if you want to succeed on a raw diet, you have to prepare. Just like any homemade meal, you have to start. And the best time to do it, honestly, is first thing in the morning. I know a lot of people don't want to wake up early, but if you're tired at night, go to bed early. And then you'll be able to wake up early. You'll have this like fresh energy, ready to go, right? I find it so much easier to prep everything. And somebody's asking, can you make extra dressing and freeze it? I personally wouldn't freeze it, but a lot of the dressings last a day or two in the fridge. So you can make extra and just have it for the next day. Just make a double batch. The fattier dressings like the tzatziki and the sour cream and stuff, those last about 4 or 5 days. So you could make 1 or 2 batches, split it up into like 4 containers and add herbs and spices to each of them. And then you have dressings for 4 nights.
That is actually like a really good idea. I didn't know that the higher fat dressings last that long. So that's cool. That's good to know.
Yeah, totally. And that's what Nate and I do when we go camping. We'll make a higher fat dressing for the dinners, and we just use less of it. That's all.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, talking about higher fat, sorry, I had to go out and get my little tripod. I forgot it, and my arm's getting tired, and I need to take notes. Talking about the higher fat stuff, that's interesting because I notice on those nights when I'm super hungry and I'm like, I can't think of anything except like having a vegan burger right now, I'm always grabbing for fats, always. Like I want avocado or like your sour cream or whatever. Like is that normal? Is that something that like I should expect to feel that way? Or is that like, no, we need to cut that out right now?
No, actually, I feel like it's totally okay to have fats with your greens at night because it's satiating, and we do need fats. Like if you had no fat throughout the day, if you had French dressing for lunch and smoothies, then you're not getting the fats. And it's totally okay to have a little bit, just have less. Just have an appropriate amount. You can actually, what they call, I know Tanny Raw says, stretch the fat. So you can actually blend half a zucchini with your sauce to bulk up. So you have a lot of sauce, but it's lower fat and it's still creamy. So stretching the fat is a nice way to do it. They don't last as long as the full fat ones, maybe 3 days, I would say, if you add zucchini. But it's such a great tip to do. And at night, it's all good to have fats. Like Nate and I will do a cashew-based dressing at night and in our greens, because we do need fats to help absorb certain things from our greens. Okay.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with the fats. I just wanted to make sure, like, am I having too much? You know, like, and I think too, if I'm having like your tzatziki sauce, so what I did was I made your falafel burger and we had that for dinner. And then I had a couple extra patties. So I took the patty and made it into like a crumble over my salad with the tzatziki sauce at work. And it was so good. But I was thinking, am I going to crash because I'm eating like this high fat dressing at work, you know, in the middle of the day? But I actually didn't crash at all. So, but then I'm like, okay, I've had my fat. So at dinner, I need to like be way more aware. Eat now.
Yeah. And it's, again, like you said, it's not about being perfect. I would much rather see someone put a higher fat dressing on a big salad than go towards a junky option or a burger and fries or something like that. I would much rather see them eat even just a little higher fat on a big salad, right? Because at least you're getting the fiber, because the processed foods have hardly any fiber, and we're like majorly into the fiber. So that's awesome.
Definitely.
Advice for starting when your spouse and family aren't even vegan and not interested right now. Summer's coming up, lots of barbecues and camping. Yeah, for those, it's like, it doesn't matter if it's winter or summer or spring or Christmas or New Year's or birthdays or weddings or what have you. You're always for the rest of your life going to have challenging days. And it really boils down to what you want. Do you want to eat raw? And if no one else around you wants to do it, That's fine. Just do you, because you are the example to everybody, and whether they change right away or not isn't, I mean, it's your body. So you get to choose what you put into it.
I like that you just said that because was it yesterday or the day before, one of your emails about with the bundle information came out and it was all about cravings. And I was like, this is perfect timing because I get into this, like, I don't know. It's like I really do feel like it's an addiction where I think about, sorry, you guys, like we eat Beyond Burgers. That's something that we've decided that we really enjoy. But oh my gosh, the other day we went on an almost 11-mile hike and I did not plan anything for dinner. Which again, I'm learning. I'm like, oh, well, that was dumb. Like we got into the car. I felt fine. We got in the car. I sat down and like my blood sugar just went kerplunk. And all I could think about was a Beyond Burger. And I told my husband, I'm saying, I need help because I really want this. And he's like, okay, well, when we get home, like, I'll help you make your raw dinner. And we got home and I just made burgers. I was like, there was nothing that was going to stop me. I felt like it was this like addiction where I'm like, I need melty cheese and crunchy bread. And I don't like that feeling. So your email, like the next morning was like, how to handle your cravings. And I'm like, yes, that's what we needed. And so it's interesting because you do talk about how like we're in charge of our own decisions. And I think it's good to hear that and remind ourselves of that because that's something I tell my patients all the time. I'm like, well, I kind of need to practice what I preach, right? Like I'm not going and eating like a beef burger, but like, we have control. And what's your why? Like, what's our purpose? Why am I going raw for this month? There's several reasons I'm going raw for this month. And I'm not going to know if it was successful if I keep eating Beyond Burgers, whatever. So that was a really helpful email. And I think you did do a post recently about cravings and stuff too. And so I thank you for that. Like you have so much insight. I learned so much from your posts and your emails. And I think it's really a valuable tool for people. So I hope more people get to see that, especially if you guys, in this chat or in this video, like she's got some awesome stuff, great tools and resources. And I feel like it always comes at the right moment for me when I really need it. So I thank you for that.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. I know I have so much fun writing those emails. Some of them take me like 2 hours to write, but I love doing it. And for the bundle, we're doing daily emails for bundle events. So it's really nice to be able to provide all of that information to people to help them to not only get all the books in the bundle, but to learn from someone who's been doing it for almost 7 years, to learn how to apply everything in the bundle into their life. And it's really interesting that you said something about like you feel like you're addicted to the Beyond Burgers. And it's interesting because in reality, yes, there's chemicals in the processed food that we really crave and we want the stimulation. But in reality, if you had fueled up throughout the hike and you had a good big salad on halfway through the hike, and like Nate and I, we take our salads with
I did I had this big salad. It's funny, I'm like,
oh nice,
yeah, because they were like, well, what are you gonna bring? And I was like, I'm gonna be like Nate and Lissa and I'm gonna bring a salad on my long ass hike. And I did, and it was, I had this really cool picture of like my salad and the waterfall that we ate at. So, like I did, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I had a lot of food, and through the whole hike, I was totally fine until I sat in the car on the drive home. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, and I think that in a way too, because you did like 11 miles, even what you took, and we talked about this the other day about your nursing job. It's like you're burning a lot more than you think you are. So when you do sit down, your body is like, okay, I need something mega dense, and I'm going to crave what I know is super dense, and it's like we feel like it's an addiction, but it's actually just your body craving energy in general. And we crave what we're used to and what we like and what tastes good, what's convenient. So it gets us to actually eat food. And Northern Dasher says, I smell the food I make my family. When I taste it, I really don't like the way it tastes anymore. Her taste buds have changed. And yes, your taste buds do change with time. Things get like way too salty. You're like, whoa. That's so salty. But another thing too is that 80% of the enjoyment of any meal is the smell of it.
Yep. Oh
Yep.
yeah.
So when you smell the burger and you smell the pizza, you're just like, I just enjoyed 80% of that.
I know a lot of times I'm like, you know, I try to be as real with people as possible. So August will be 4 years that we've been vegan. And, you know, I tell people all the time, I didn't stop eating meat and cheese because I don't like the way it tastes anymore. Like, that's not the reason. I did it because I realized what was happening to animals and I was horrified, my heart broke. And, but that doesn't mean when I smell something, I'm not like, that's still there, you know, that like that taste or that smell and my memory is still there. So sometimes I'll just go, oh, that was a good memory, and just kind of like try to move on and be done with it and keep it like in the past. But and with, you know, the junk food, the vegan junk food, I'm like, I'm so grateful, honestly. I think if people are gonna stop eating beef and start eating Beyond Burgers, and that's how they transition to stop eating animals, I'm like so happy that these companies have created this stuff. So we've been doing this for whatever, almost 4 years, and I'm like, okay, I thought going vegan was going to be like so hard, and it was the hardest part was like the emotional part of like realizing what I'd been contributing to. So I'm like, if I did this huge leap and went from full on meat cheese girl to totally vegan, not necessarily the healthiest version, but sometimes, you know, I'm like, there's no reason I can't now like zone that in even more and focus on like whole foods and high raw. And so that's what I just said. I'm like, you know what? It's now or never. The bundle's coming out. It's almost summer. It's beautiful here. Things are blooming. I'm like, I think this is like the universe telling me it's time. And my goals are to find out. I have a lot of brain fog like all the time. And then I had COVID in December, and I actually got COVID from taking care of my patients in ICU. So it's like, since that, my brain is just like, it's I feel like a human version of Dory these days. Hey guys, like, I don't know what to say, but here we are. So I'm hoping that like getting rid of the processed foods will help like mental clarity. I've already noticed, because I'm eating so much more raw, that I'm getting all that hydration too. I'm like, sorry guys, I pee so much more now, and I thought I peed a lot already. So it's just cool to see like my body is like enjoying that, and it's using up that energy, and I feel really good, except when I'm starving at the end of the day and I want a burger. Mm-hmm. So otherwise, I'm feeling really good, and I'm really positive about this. And I appreciate all of the tools, all the books. Like, I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
You're so welcome. You are so welcome. And anyone else who wants to grab the bundle, you can get it from either of our links. So head over to A Vegan Ray of Sunshine, check out Erin, give some love, and if you want to grab the bundle, again, links are in our bios, and there's only 3 days left.
I know. You know what I'm working on today? I'm doing the sunflower hummus. I'm making that today.
Yes.
Yeah, because I thought about like, if I have something that I know is here waiting for me already when I get home, at least I can snack on that while I'm prepping a salad or something.
Exactly. And that's another tip that I like to give people who have families, who they have to cook for their families, to either make your own salad first so that you have something to eat while you're cooking their stuff, because then your mouth is busy and you're getting all those great, delicious flavors, and you don't even really care, right? You're just doing it as an act of service for your family. But either A, you do that, or B, you have like what Erin says, she's making the sunflower hummus, she'll have veggies, and she'll be able to snack on that while she's making something bigger for herself. So that's a great tip too for people who are struggling with the whole family thing. And even if your family thinks you're nuts, like we had Dasher say that her family thinks she's nuts, but and it's not that they think you're nuts. It's that they don't want to face their own choices. They see your choices are only a mirror back to their choices. So when somebody sees you eating a salad, they see their own chicken and potatoes as like they're faced with the choice that they're making, not with you. It's not you that's crazy. It's just the fact that they're not choosing the same way and they're confused and they're fearful, and a lot of people react in different ways. I actually talk about this in my food journaling book. I go through like, there's like 7 pages on the social aspect of planning and raw foods and stuff. So I go through the 4 different kinds of people. There's more, but the top 4 is you get the bully, who like bullies you and makes jokes and pokes fun and tells you you're gonna get sick and all this stuff or whatever. Then you get the comedian who makes jokes because that's their defense mechanism for your choice. Like they don't want to accept that their choice isn't ideal, and they know it. I mean, we all know what we should be eating deep down inside. And so they'll poke jokes. They'll be like, bacon, or oh, yeah, like the vegan hunter or whatever. Like just they'll have their joke. Then you have the debater who gets into debates with you and is like, can be really frustrating because they always take the opposite side and they try to debate you. And then you have the seeker. The 4th one is the seeker, who actually has questions and is genuinely interested in what you have.
And there are one of each of those at my job. So I am very, as we all are, very used to that, all of those different kinds of reactions for sure. Wow. I do have some, go ahead.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh, I'm reading some of the comments. Like my dad was a hunter and fisherman and now he's been saying he doesn't like meat anymore. That's awesome. Wow. Where do you as a vegan get most of your minerals? I would say greens and sprouts, 100%. Oh, Lissa is definitely a gift to us all. Oh, Nicole!
Yes, she is.
My brother watched Seaspiracy and is no longer eating fishes. Whoa, wow. That's epic. I am so excited to watch Seaspiracy with Nate. Nate's been house sitting for the last week, and we are really, we're like, okay, we'll save it so we can watch it together. So yeah, we're gonna watch that together. Do we need to have downloaded all of them in 3 days? No, actually it's only 3 days to actually buy the bundle. Once you buy the bundle, you have a year to download all of the content. And if you don't download the content, the download link will disappear. So it's very important once you download the bundle to back it up onto like Google Drive or Dropbox or external drive or USB or something, so that you always have the files. And there's 65 ebooks. So you can download them on your computer. It's pretty easy. It only took me 15 minutes to download them all individually onto my computer. So yeah, it's pretty easy. I downloaded mine and have them saved on a memory stick. Awesome. Keep that safe. Sweet. Okay, so you had questions.
Yeah, well, I have questions, but first, can we talk about the food journal? Because I don't think enough people know about the food journal, and I think that is such an awesome tool because it's not just like, you can print it out if you wanted to and like write in it, but it's interactive. Like it's on my phone and I check boxes. It's like an app that you wrote. It's so cool. I just think it's so awesome. And I definitely haven't put enough time into like looking at it better to actually like filling it out. But I think it's such a cool tool that for people who really are needing to focus on what they're planning, like me, I just don't have time to do it, but I'm trying. And doing that whole reflective, not just planning, but reflect, what did I do today, and was it successful, and what could I have done better? And now taking that reflective thought and putting it into like progress for the next day. I think that's so awesome. And I think it's so cool that you wrote that as an addition to the bundle. I don't know, I just think that if everybody could get that journal, I think there would be so much more effectiveness in like their raw journey. And even if it's not raw, like even if it's just vegan, like regular vegan, it's still like, it's such a helpful tool. And again, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, so I wanted to write that journal for the last 3 years. The idea came to me when I was in a coaching call with a client, and I asked her, I said, well, do you food journal at all? Because I'd love to see what you're currently eating. And she's like, no, I food journaled in the past and it's never worked for me to food journal. And I'm like, well, there is science that shows that food journaling actually does help, because you can reflect on what you were eating and make changes. And she's like, but it never worked for me. And I'm like, well, have you ever thought of maybe being more proactive with your journaling and actually write down what you plan to have the next day. And she was like, that's a great idea, because traditional food journaling is just reflecting on what you made, what decisions you made during the day. And we make decisions when we're hungry and we're winging it. We're just like, I don't know, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat whatever. And then we track it. And it's like, well, that's not really helping, because we need to be proactive and actually plan what we have. And when you plan, you succeed, as with anything in life. If you plan, you succeed. So I wanted to write this for like 3 years, but I didn't know how I was going to lay it out and everything. And then when Chris and I decided to organize the bundle, we were aiming to get a minimum of 50 ebooks in the bundle. Right now there's 65, and that's what we ended up with. So we're like 15 books over what we had thought it would be. So we had wanted 50. And when we were collecting books, it was like at 48 or something. And I'm like, it was about maybe a week before the bundle launched. And I was like, I'm going to write another book just to boost up the bundle, right? So in 5 days, I was staying up till 3 in the morning writing this book. And I was like, I have to write it for the people. So I made it editable. So you can actually you can check off the list. There's like a shopping list in there for like the staples that Nate and I always have in our house. There's different things that you can do. There's fun. It's really interactive. So at the very back, there's a 30-day challenge. So you could actually check off each day that you do just for fun. It's just a fun little challenge. And then, each day there's 7 days worth of fillable forms. So you could do a week, and then you could just go back, and then you could delete them and do it all over again, right?
Great. That's so cool. I can't believe you did that in 5 days. And like, first of all, I've never even seen something like interactive as an ebook. So the fact that like you did that in 5 days and wrote the whole thing in 5 days, and it's beautiful. The graphics are beautiful. The color, everything. It's just very appealing. So the fact that you did all that in 5 days,
I know. I was like,
a superhuman.
Determined to get that done. I'm glad, because it like you said, it's definitely necessary for vegans, for raw vegans alike. It doesn't matter. It's all about planning and learning how to plan our day instead of just winging it and just deciding on whatever.
On Beyond Burgers, totally.
Yep. Yasmina says most greens, vegetables, and fruits grow in monoculture, which means the soil over time gets mineral depleted. Will greens still be your source of minerals? Yes, I eat a lot of greens, and honestly, we do what we can in today's society. If we can grow our own or get local as much as we possibly can, the whole thing with the perfectionism stuff, like it has to be perfect or I'm not even going to try, or I'm not going to eat raw just because the minerals are depleted. It's like, what else are we going to eat if we don't actually try? And we don't actually focus on greens and sprouts and eating fruits and stuff. Like, what else is there to eat? I mean, we live in a modern world, and we have to do what we can, and might as well make the best choices that we can. You could always take a mineral supplement if you want. Nate and I don't, but you could if you get tested. Obviously, you're going to want to get tested and see how your levels are. You don't need to take something if you don't need the minerals, right? So, and then we've got here, do you know what blood type you are? I personally don't remember. I need to get a blood test. Nate and I are actually going to do our blood work soon, get that tested just to see where we are, because we're feeling amazing. We just want to make sure that everything is tip top. I personally don't believe in the blood type diet either. I mean, horses all have different blood types and they all eat the same stuff, right? It's not about the blood type, and that diet was debunked like over 20 years ago anyways. So it's not even a thing. We are all human, and we all have a cell that has a mitochondria. We all have insulin, and we all have this stuff. So we all function the same way. It's just that we've had to adapt to certain areas of the world. Like in the northern countries, we had to adapt, which it doesn't mean that that's our ideal diet. It just means that we've adapted to the environment. But we're all tropical beings. We are all frugivorous, and we need lots of fruit, lots of greens, lots of sprouts, and all that good stuff.
You can get tested. You just go to your doctor's office, and you can get tested on whatever you feel like you need. Just get a blood test.
There are actually even online companies that do specific vegan tests. I don't remember the names of them right now off the top of my head. But yeah, you basically, you pay for the test and then they send you a rec. So you just go to whatever place to get the blood drawn, and then it's sent to the company.
That's cool.
And they have like this one, I can't remember the name of it. I wish I could remember. But they do like a whole vegan workup. Like they check to make sure all the levels for vegans.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I get
it's only $200.
I get annual blood work done just to see
Nice.
where I'm at, and I think I'm due anytime now. But it's just fun to watch yourself too, because I mean, like my husband, before we went vegan, he was on a statin medication for cholesterol. So he's not on it anymore. After like 6 months of being vegan, he's not on the medication anymore, and his cholesterol levels are better now than they were when he was on the medication.
Oh my God.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's really cool to watch that trend every year, see how it looks. It's super awesome. I have a question. I have a couple questions actually coming from some of the people in my Raw Vegan April group.
Cool.
And it kind of reflects with myself, my personal experience too. So we're not looking for perfection here. So let's say I personally, or somebody's like, I can't do raw all day. I have to have at least one vegan cooked meal. Would you suggest a specific meal to have that? Because we're thinking, well, there's raw till 4 and you can have a cooked meal at dinner. But in my opinion, I feel like that would be really heavy on my belly going to sleep, especially after 12 hours of work. So I thought, well, maybe in the middle of the day, like my lunch, it'll give me whatever I'm needing to kind of get over to dinner, and then I'll have a big salad, and then that'll be better. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, if people are not able, and the thing is too, it's all about not being perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that it's an excuse not to try, but if your situation requires a little bit of adjustment, it's okay. And I hope that people don't feel shamed or guilty or feel like they're not good enough just because they can't do all raw, right? I don't want people to feel like that, because it's about adding as much as possible to get through your specific situation. Because if you think about it, if we were wild and we were just like living in a commune and just hanging out and we all helped each other, and there wasn't like a 9 to 5 and there wasn't a 12-hour shift and there wasn't these crazy ideas that we need to stay full for 6 hours and all of this, that's all a product of modern life. The human being in nature would be eating more often. We'd just be like, oh, I'm hungry. Let's go sit under that mango tree and eat like 10 mangoes, right? We would just eat whenever we wanted, and it would be more often throughout the day. But unfortunately, modern day life requires some people to adjust slightly. But if you can eat as much raw as possible, bonus. So if you're going to do cooked food, I would recommend, like, if I was going to start incorporating cooked food, which I'm not, by the way, everybody, just so you know, because I know people are going to be like, oh my God. If I was, I would start with quinoa, steamed veggies, and sweet potatoes, and I would have them in a big raw salad. So if you're going to do cooked food, it should be half raw, half cooked. So you can get your starch, right? Your starch, which can help you satiate you throughout like long periods of time. So have your starch, like make a baked sweet potato or something and add it to your raw salad. So that you still have the high raw plant fiber, it's still good, and you're getting a little bit of the starch calories from the yam or sweet potato, or quinoa is a good one. You could even blossom wild rice. I know the Garden Zom family, they blossom wild rice. So they get the forbidden rice. You can get it online. The co-ops might have it and stuff. But you would just soak that and sprout it, and it's a starch. So it's actually a seed. Really, it's not seed, fruit, whatever. But yeah, you could add that to a salad too. But I think the main goal would be to include it in a big raw salad. So you're getting the best of both worlds for your situation. That's what I would do, definitely.
That's a really, really great idea. I think like easily I could do some quinoa, steamed vegetables with like over spinach, and tomatoes or something, like totally easy. So that's a really, really really awesome recommendation. Hi, Joe. Hello. Hi.
Yeah, and yeah, again, I want to reiterate that people shouldn't feel like, oh, if I can't be all raw, then there's no point in even really trying. Because that
No.
defeats the purpose of a raw diet. We are trying to eat as much raw as we possibly can with the situation that we have. And I see so many people who are like, I just can't do raw because they're under eating. They're just not eating enough. So they feel really hungry and they're always like ravenous for food because they're just not eating enough. But if they can't sustain raw, a lot of people snap way back to the other side. And even some people go back to eating animal products because they're just not getting enough calories. They're not feeding themselves enough variety. I see that often in the raw community where people go on really strict diets, like they're only on fruit or they're juicing for like 90 days or something, and that decimates their gut microbiome. So when they eventually they feel great when they're on the fast, obviously, but after the fast, for months, sometimes years after, it's really difficult to rebuild the good bacteria that you've starved. Right.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
variety is incredibly important. We need the fiber. And if adding a sweet potato to your raw salad is what gets you to stay on raw salads, then do it. I'd rather somebody put a sweet potato in their big giant raw salad than to say, I can't do this, I'm going to eat pizza, right? I'd way rather see them eat a sweet potato, right?
Totally. And that's what I told my husband. I said, before doing this, I said, I'm not looking for perfection here. I said, if I want a potato on day 7 or whatever, I'm going to have a potato. Like, I'm not going to say no to myself if it's still a vegetable, you know?
Oh, totally. And yeah, it's still vegan, right? Obviously. That's the whole goal. But also, when you are in transition, this is the point where like a lot of people don't realize that the word transition means to practice. So when you're in transition, that's where you are practicing to be what you want to be. So like you're practicing to be a raw vegan. So every meal, you're making the best choice that you possibly can to be raw. It's not like you're like, well, I'm in transition, so I can eat this pizza just because or whatever, right? But you're like making the best choice that you can at this moment and trying to choose as much raw as you can. So eventually with time, you're like, now I know that maybe I need to add more dates in my dressing, or I need to add different vegetables to my salad. And then I don't need the potatoes as much. But it's like that evolution through, and to not feel guilty about that evolution. Because for me, for example, it took me 10 years of trying and trying raw. I was always under eating and eating too high fat, so I wasn't able to stick to it. But I'd always be like, after 3 or 4 days, I'd be like, I just can't do this. I'm so hungry. Like I feel great, but I'm so hungry, but I just wasn't eating enough until I learned that.
That's exactly where I'm at. And it's funny, I noticed it was like every 3 days. It was like, I was great. The 3rd day I was good until dinner, and then I failed. Or not failed. Like then I like made the wrong, I made a different choice than I wanted to. And so it was like, I'm like, I'm not trying to be perfect. It's okay then. And this is actually something, people always say practice makes perfect. I don't like that saying. I learned from my patient a few years ago. She said, practice makes progress.
Yes.
And I love that. I always say that now, because it's like, we're not looking to be perfect, and we're looking to progress, whether it's education, whatever, a routine. Practice makes progress, and that's good enough for me. Totally.
That's exactly the reason why they call it a yoga practice and not a yoga perfect, because there's no such thing as a yoga perfect. You practice and practice, and then even when you get into that pose that you've been trying to do for years and years, they're still further away, right? To just like, you just get deeper into the pose, you can hold it longer, you can get into it easier, and there's never an end date. So we've got Eileen saying that she tried to purchase the bundle and it says unable to make payment.
Who's the telling that on?
That's strange. Maybe try using a different form of payment. We have credit card and PayPal set up, so you should be able to use any of those. Maybe try from a different browser, But yeah, if anybody wants the bundle, 65 raw vegan ebooks, all raw, all raw. There's no cooked food. 65 for $49. It ends Sunday night, so it ends in 3 days. If you guys want it, go to either of our links in bio and you can grab it.
Hey, Che is in this chat, and she lives here in the same area as us. She's in my Raw Vegan April group, and she's kicking so much butt. She said, she messaged me yesterday, I think, or the day before, that she did completely raw for a whole week, and she was down like 5 pounds and felt so good. So, like, shout out to Che.
Yay,
good
Che!
job, girl.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's so awesome.
Let's see.
Joe's got a question. What's your take on just juicing for a particular time frame? I personally don't think it's necessary or a good idea in general. Like a juice here or there with part like of a really high fiber diet randomly here and there is fine. I don't think it's the end of the world. But going on a juice fast is basically you're taking out the most important nutrient. It's the fiber. I think fiber is more important than protein. It's more important than everything. I think fiber is essential because there's stuff in fiber that only gets released when your bacteria digest it. So there's things in fiber that disappear out of the juice, like the polyphenols, for example. Those are in the fiber, and you need to eat the fiber to get the polyphenols, which are so important. So I personally don't think that it's a good idea. We don't own a juicer, so we don't do juicing, and I haven't done juicing in over 7 years, and I likely won't, because I would prefer to eat a sustainable, long-term, whole food, plant-based diet the way Mother Nature gave us food. Our bodies are already detox machines. We just have to get out of its way and stop putting the oil and the processed foods and the animal products in it. We just have to give it really good stuff.
I like that. I tell people that a lot too, because people say, oh, well, why don't you juice? And I'm like, well, where's all the fiber in that then? And talk about, you know, your gut bacteria, well, as Nate calls them, his little dudes, and that's where his book, The Dude Food, from the bundle also. Like, I have somebody in our group who made his, I think is it kimchi or was something like curries? I'm not sure, but she was like obsessed with it. She said it was so good, and I haven't even opened that book. Not opened it, but you know what I mean. My ebook. I haven't even looked at that one yet. But like, there's so many books in the e-bundle, and that's one of them. So as far as like, feeding your gut bacteria, you guys, we're in a pandemic right now. Like, your gut is your first line of immunity. You got to feed your gut bacteria. You have to, and it wants fiber.
Yep, exactly.
So juicing is not giving it all the fiber. I'd rather you blend it up into a smoothie. At least you're still eating the fiber that way.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. But also, I hear a lot of people say, but they want to nourish every cell in their body, and juice gives them that nourishment because it's so easily to absorb all the minerals and stuff. But if you truly care about every cell in your body, then you also should care about the good bacteria, because they outnumber us. There's more bacteria cells in our bodies and on our skin and everywhere than there are cells in our entire body. So over half of you is bacteria, and they thrive on fiber. If you just drink juice, it's not giving them what they need. So we need to give them fiber. And somebody just asked, would you suggest a juice fast before going raw? 100% no. I would say go raw. Just go raw and get the junk out and create that solid foundation, because you likely don't need a juice fast. You just need to clean up what you're putting in and learn about the foods that you're putting in. Yeah.
And side note, again, hi, I'm a nurse, so nothing grosses me out. And I'm sorry if this is going to gross anybody out. But you guys, people tell me all the time, oh, I went vegan and I was pooping all the time. Like, that's literally how your body works. Like, that's literally, you bring in the good foods and you get rid of whatever the body doesn't need. And for people who are constipated, like, that's not normal. So if you're going to the bathroom a lot, that's because you're supposed to. That's how this machine of our body, that's how it works. And that's a really good thing if you're going to the bathroom a lot.
Agreed. Agreed. Totally. Next up, we have thoughts on coconut oil in coffee. I personally think that's a no-no. Oil is a processed food. Coffee is a stimulant, and the whole coconut oil in the coffee thing was created and turned into a trend by the keto group, I would say. Like, that's just basically what I've noticed. It has basically become a trend for people who are not getting carbs. Our body runs on carbs. Our body runs on carb sugar, right? Our brain runs on glucose. Our muscles run on sugar. Yes, we can convert fat and protein into sugar, but it's inefficient. Our body doesn't want to do that. That's why we love sweets and we love fruit and we love all of that, because we need the sugar. The problem is that these people who are on a keto diet or paleo even, and they're eating really high protein and really high fat, they have no energy, hardly any energy, because they're eating super low carb. So in order to like jumpstart them and get that going, they put the oil in the coffee so that they get a sustained release of stimulation, which you can get from eating apples. We don't need the coffee. And I personally would never do the coconut oil in the coffee, but that's just my choice. I don't think that it's necessary.
It just sounds weird. I don't know. I mean, to me, I'm like, I remember people were putting like sticks of butter in their coffee for a while too. And I'm like, what? Where did this come from? This is a really interesting idea.
Yeah, and it definitely is. It's a byproduct of the diets that are really restrictive of carbs, because if you restrict the energy, then you're going to feel pretty tired. You need a pick me up, you need a kickstart, and the oil in the coffee started, like, it was just a trend that started. It's not essential. And the oil also blocks insulin from putting sugar into your cells anyways. So it's like a double whammy. You're actually creating more insulin resistance when you're consuming the oils. Yeah. And yeah, it's just overall, I mean, coconut oil is a processed food because there's no fiber in it. If you're going to do coconut, get the coconut butter. It's like blended coconut meat. That's all it is. So at least you're getting the fiber in there, and it's a whole food. But yeah, lots of poop talk in the chat. Love it.
Yay! Nurse stuff. I know. At work, yay, you pooped after surgery. Like, that's something like a big accomplishment when we have our patients that do that.
Right. Amy's asking what kind of carbs. Well, fruit and greens and sprouts. Those are all carbs. Anything that is plant-based that isn't like a nut. Even nuts have carbs in them too, a little bit. But fruit, lots of greens, lots of vegetables. It all is complex carbs and they turn into energy. So no need to have the rice. But like I said, if you really need it to help you through, or like if you're breastfeeding, for example, breastfeeding women need 500 extra calories a day when they're breastfeeding. So if a raw diet isn't sufficient for them, they can add like just a little sweet potato or rice or quinoa or something. As long as there's no oil and no salt, it's fine to add in times where you actually need it.
Hey, Lissa, so I still have a few more questions, but I have an abundance of mangoes right now. I was going to make the mangonaise from the burger book, but there's a dressing that you'd use with mango that you guys make a lot, and I've never done it. Do you know which one is that? Mango,
that's
mahini.
Mahini curry. Oh, there's also mango tango, and those are both in meal plan 3.
Mango
tango and mahini curry. So if you guys like curry stuff, it is one of my favorites.
I'm really excited about making the mangonaise. Like, that sounds so good. So I'm hoping to make a batch of that today. I think I have a question.
Oh, there's tons of questions.
What are your thoughts on lion's mane powder?
Lion's mane powder.
I don't have any thoughts because I don't know a thing about it.
Nate and I do have a package of lion's mane powder that you could add to smoothies. We rarely add it. If we do, we'll add it to like a chocolate smoothie here and there if we remember. But I mean, we're not like super big on the powders or anything. We just got it because like someone recommended and we're like, we'll give it a shot. But we don't use it every day. It's kind of like moringa powder or greens powder. We don't really do a lot of that because it's not whole food. It's dehydrated fully, and I don't know. It's just, I don't have any real thoughts on it. If you want to take it, that's cool. If not, that's cool too. Like, there's no real like thoughts on it.
What's the point or the benefits of it?
Lion's mane is really good for brain function and
Oh,
recall and
maybe I need that.
maybe you do. Yeah. Lion's mane, you can get it at, I think Shopping Cart has some in their
Okay.
powdery
Or
section.
I can just come over and have some in your kitchen.
Exactly, right? You can totally come over. Sky is asking, how do you feel about local honey and the benefits of supporting beekeepers and businesses helping local bees? That's a tough one because I personally, I support beekeepers, but I do not support consuming the honey because the honey is meant for the bees, not for us. So if you're going to support the beekeepers, like support them or beekeep without stealing the honey. Like the whole point is so that they can live a natural life without us stealing all of their honey. And that's the food for them. That's what they make. And it takes like, what is it, 12 bees their whole lifetime to make like a teaspoon of honey? I'm like,
Something crazy.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I personally won't go there. I will support beekeepers, however, who just beekeep for the sake of beekeeping. But I won't buy the honey. Yeah.
We do, like, we plant what are they called, pollinator flowers,
Yes,
like in
yes.
the garden bed with like for the butterflies and the bees, just to, and we have a couple like little bee like houses in our yard that we like have little vacancy signs out, come on bees, like come in our backyard. And so like we totally are all, and actually my husband wants to do beekeeping once, you know, we have a bigger property, so I'm all about the sustainable beekeepers for sure.
Yeah, and you're not stealing them. I mean, I was always impacted by two movies that were really interesting, and they're kid movies. A Bug's Life, which is about the ants, and the grasshoppers make them get double the amount of food because they take it, you know, half the food every year. And the ants are like, why are we getting all this extra food? We don't have to. Like, why can't the grasshoppers do it themselves? Right? So that movie really affected me because I was like, we are like the grasshoppers. We're making the bees produce over amounts and we're just taking it. And I know there's sustainable beekeepers who don't do the sugar water, but there's a lot of other, like, that claim to be sustainable who use sugar water to replace the honey that they're taking. So it's like, it's kind of pointless. I'd rather the bees eat the honey. And
Eat
then
their own honey.
Yeah, and then the other movie is a bee movie with Jerry Seinfeld. And that movie was really cool because they give you just enough truth and then they sell the lie at the end. Because when the bee finds out that humans are stealing the honey, he gets really mad and then all the bees protest and they're like, we don't want to, we don't want to. But then when the humans stop eating the honey, all the flowers die. And the bees are like, no, we need you to take the honey for us to pollinate. And I'm like, that's not true. If we stopped buying honey, the bees would definitely not stop doing their job. But I think the movie really kind of like twisted the truth at the end, which I didn't like. But at the beginning of the movie, you're like, oh, it's a vegan movie, but it's not. At the end.
I think also to kind of like go off of the bee thing, they're on Netflix. There's a 2-season series called Rotten.
Yes.
And I believe there's a one about bees in one of those seasons. There's also a really good one on garlic. The whole docu-series is super, super good. So if you guys have Netflix, definitely check that out, the Rotten series. You learn so much in a short amount of time, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
What about seeds like hemp, chia, and flaxseed?
I think those are great. They're great additions. They have high omega-3, lower omega-6. They're good. I mean, fats are necessary. They're essential for proper health. So having them in your diet is just fine. Add like a tablespoon or two to your salads and just have a small amount. You don't have to go overboard, but yeah, I think they're great. Yeah. Let's see. If anyone else is having trouble getting the bundle, you can message Eileen. I haven't heard of anyone else having a problem getting the bundle so far. We've had quite a few sales, so I'm not sure what that could be the reason. Is agave a good substitute for honey? I use maple syrup. You could also use date water, where you take like a cup or two of water and just soak like 4 or 5 dates in it for a couple days, and you've got some nice, delicious sweet water, which you can use in place of honey. Yep.
Joe, let's see. How long are you going raw, Erin? I'm doing the month, or I'm attempting to do the month of April. Hopefully I'll continue that. That would be my goal. Definitely, I've learned about, higher raw for sure. If I can't get to completely raw for this month, I definitely am learning to appreciate the high raw and how I'm feeling with it, because I do feel a lot better.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
What about intermittent fasting? Recommend for good digestion and weight loss. Again, intermittent fasting is another one, a lot like the oil in the coffee. The intermittent fasting was made popular because there was like random study somewhere about kids with epilepsy, and then someone started doing it and it caught on with the keto crew again. It's always the low carb, high fat crew that start these trends. And then people are like, oh, well, it works for the keto people. Might as well do it on a raw diet. But on a raw diet, you don't need to even follow those. Like, we all intermittent fast when we sleep, and that's enough, right? You get up, eat your breakfast, fuel up. Like, when you go on a long car trip, you don't just start driving on an empty tank, right? You fill it up right to the top. You got to eat your breakfast. It's so important. And digestion is healthy and strong when you eat food and when you eat high fiber and variety. That's what creates a strong digestion, not elimination and not restriction. You have to take it slowly and incorporate more fiber more often and build a good, strong gut. It doesn't come from restrictive diets. It doesn't come from eating windows. And that can create, for a lot of people, actually, which is really sad, it can create eating disorders because people are like, no, I have to keep within my 6-hour window or whatever. And they're hungry in the morning, or they're hungry at night, or they're trying to eat seriously, try to eat 3,000 calories of raw food in a 4 to 6 hour window is just impossible.
That sounds like your jaw's gonna get tired chewing all of that.
Yeah, and it's all the hydration and all the fiber. It's like that's why I think it doesn't work on raw. It's basically meant to keep the the keto crew only eating like one meal a day, because their one meal is like 2,500 calories. So they're basically forcing themselves into like a starvation state in a way. And I personally don't feel it's necessary. Like, we just need to eat, fuel our bodies, get the fiber.
Just eat when you're hungry. How about that?
Yeah, how about that? Eat when you're hungry.
Eat when your body's telling you it wants some nutrition.
Right? Totally. We've got, if you choose to incorporate some cooked food, is it better to do it for dinner or lunch, or does it matter? I don't think it matters. I think it just matters on your own personal schedule and what you need for your life, right? Like, everybody lives a different life. Like Erin, for example, she works 12 hours in a day as a cardiac ICU nurse. So she might need her quinoa or sweet potato with her raw salad. Remember, if you're going to do cooked, have it with raw. But she might need that in the afternoon for sustained energy until she gets home. And when she gets home, then she can have another salad or an ice cream or a smoothie or something. But yeah, it really depends on where you're at and what your schedule's like. So yeah.
Nibble fiber throughout the day. I mean, I have several little like Tupperwares of strawberries and dates and all sorts of things. So when I'm hungry, I just go in and nibble.
yeah. Nibble, get all that fiber in. And I would challenge, it's hard when somebody is only eating like 5 to 10 grams of fiber a day, which the typical standard North American eats only 5 to 10 grams of fiber a day. The RDA is 30. And only 3% of North Americans get 30 a day. Only 3%. Nate and I eat around 80 to 90, sometimes 100 grams of fiber every single day. And that is why we have such a strong gut. So yes, eating fiber throughout the day in the form of fruit, greens, vegetables, and sprouts is going to really help bring that good bacteria to the forefront, like building your little colony. Like, they give us serotonin and our immunity, and they give us vitamins and minerals, and they release polyphenols, and they create butyrate, which is also a happy chemical, and it's the most anti-inflammatory thing out there. So eating fiber is the most anti-inflammatory thing you can do, any form of fiber from whole raw foods.
Yeah. put down the ibuprofen and pick up the broccoli.
I love that you totally channeled Dr. Gregor in that. I totally can hear Dr. Gregor.
Lissa, I have a question from one of our Raw Vegan April members. She's asking, because she needs to eat a higher fat and a higher calorie because of her personal situation. So she was wondering if in your next adventure of creating things for your followers, if you would make some kind of reference, maybe even like a big 1-page or like a pamphlet where it's the produce and how many calories it is and like a breakdown per 100 grams or something like that, if that's something that is on your radar, or if you know something that exists like that already, or what, because she feels like that would really help her see, instead of getting on a chronometer and typing in everything, just having a quick reference, being like, okay, great, I need X calories, I'm going to grab these things because I have this little graph chart already.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. A lot of work for me to do all of the recipes and stuff like that. Like, that's why Chronometer is so good, because you can enter it all, you know, while you're standing in line or what have you, you can enter your stuff. But one of the things that I'd like to work on in the future, and again, I have no idea when this will be, it could be years down the road, just because it is going to take a lot of work to do, but I would like to take one of my recipes, say, we'll just use ramen as an example, take the ramen recipe as is, enter it all into Chronometer, get the nutritional content of that meal, and then enter that meal into Chronometer. So you could actually just go into Chronometer and type Lissa's ramen, and it would pull it up as a thing that you could enter into Chronometer. Awesome. Yeah, but again, like I said, it's going to take a lot of work to do that. And
you know, why don't you just make your own app?
Right, I know, that's another thing that I've been thinking of too. But apps are like 8 to 10 grand, and I'm like, yeah.
You know what? Let's start do a Kickstarter for
Lissa's app. Right? Totally. Buy the bundle; it helps support us, so we can provide you more things. Right?
Yes, yes. I have another question. That's in my personal one. So as far as like smoothies go, I love smoothies. So I went from having like one big one every morning to incorporating now having 2 during my work day. And I'll have one like at like not 8 or 9 in the morning, another one like 5. But I think that, like we kind of talked the other day about, I need more of that. So I'm wondering, like, so I've been doing like half a pineapple, 2 oranges, like 2 frozen bananas, and like 2 or 3 dates. So I'm okay to like double that up. Would you say like great? Is there like, would you say if I'm gonna have one big salad a day and the rest in smoothies / snacks, like, is there a certain calorie amount you think I should focus on divided between 3 or 4 smoothies throughout the day? Or is that, do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, I would say, like, do you do that recipe and split it into the 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's probably where the problem is, because that smoothie with half a pineapple is maybe 200 calories, 2 bananas is 200 calories, and a couple dates, maybe you're probably at around 300 or 400 calories total for that smoothie, split between, so you're at 200 calories in the morning and 200 in the afternoon. Definitely not enough. I would recommend like these ones, these size jars.
That's what I take.
Two of those in the morning and 2 of those in the afternoon. So I would almost triple that recipe. Like, use the entire pineapple, use like 5 dates, use a cup of berries, use 3 or 4 bananas or 5 bananas. Just like make so much that the Vitamix is full to the top, and then make another batch.
Yeah. Okay, I can do that. And then let's see, like flax and chia seeds, I could definitely add to kind of boost up that. But anything else to add to it that you think would be, I mean, I usually do a little bit of oat milk and then the rest with water. It's kind of like how I, like this much versus this much water. Because I try to get all the, you know, the juice from the fruit itself. That's my like whole purpose of that. So, like, yeah, chia and flaxseed, and even like hemp seeds would be good maybe to add to it every now and then or so.
You could. I don't necessarily recommend. The only one that really works in a smoothie for insulin wise would be chia. I would keep the flax and the hemp to your dressing for your salad, and just try to stick
Okay.
with pure fruit.
Okay.
Again, chia is a little different because chia is extremely high fiber as
Okay.
opposed to extremely high fat. So it is a decent one. If you're going to pick one of the three for your smoothie, I would choose like a tablespoon of chia seeds.
Okay.
So yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, double, triple that recipe, girl.
Okay, I gotta go to the store.
Yeah, gotta eat more. And that's the interesting thing. Like, people don't realize how much they actually need to eat. Like, they feel like they're eating a lot, but it's like not as much. There's an interesting one here. A Northern Dasher says, I don't have a big appetite. And likely the number one reason why people don't have a big appetite is because they're not eating enough. And again, it comes down to that, like, I don't want to say you have to force yourself to eat, but start eating more, like, earlier in the day. Start eating earlier, even if you don't feel like it, even if it's just like 1 or 2 bananas first thing in the morning. Start teaching your body that there is food. So the body down regulates hunger during times of famine and starvation times, because it doesn't want to, like, it's trying to conserve energy. So it's kind of a vicious cycle. You don't eat, your appetite goes down, and then you don't want to eat, and then your body's conserving energy, so it doesn't want food, and then you get into this circle where you just don't feel hungry, so you don't eat, and then you don't feel hungry because you're not eating. So really, yeah. And I used to watch this show called Super Fat versus Super Skinny or something like that, and where they would take 2 people, one person who was overeating on a lot of junk food and like 4,000 to 5,000, 6,000 calories on junk food, and they were very overweight, and they would pair them with somebody who was under eating dramatically, like 600, 800 calories a day. They're just eating like a piece of toast and maybe some coffee and like bites of their kids' food at dinner time, and they were just like not eating enough, and they were super skinny. So they would put these 2 people in a feeding house where they switched the diets. So the overweight person had to eat what the skinny person normally ate, and the skinny person had to eat what the overweight person ate. And what I realized, like, after watching a lot of those episodes, I was just fascinated by how we view food and how eating certain foods can cause certain things and emotions. Anyways, these skinny people, when they started eating a lot more calories, even though it wasn't good, like good options, but it was the whole psychological aspect of it. When they started actually eating more food, they would, almost all of them at the end of the 3 or 4 days would be like, I am actually hungry in the morning now. Because they're training their body that there's no longer famine times, and you're actually eating food, right? So that's something I would say. Start eating more and you'll be more hungry, because your body is like, oh, okay, it's not famine time. Yay, we can burn more calories. So yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting. What do you recommend for sprouting? I love radish sprouts. I have mung bean sprouts right now. I need to buy more things to sprout because it's fun. You can like grow something really fast and then you get to eat it really quickly. So
I know, it's great.
Those are my favorites to sprout.
It's the best survival food. Like, you can store sprouts for a long period of time, and they only take 2, 3, 4 days to sprout. So you can have them going all the time. I personally, I'm with you with the radishes. That's my favorite. But we do a lot of lentils in our house too. So lentils are a big one.
I need to buy some sprouting lentils. I need to get some of that.
And by the way, everybody, if you buy the bundle, if you have bought the bundle or are buying the bundle, which is link in bio, by the way, Perfect Foods Inc., they have a book in the bundle called Sprouting Wheatgrass and Microgreens or something. They are offering everybody who has purchased a bundle 10% off their sprouting seeds, which are the seeds that Nate and I get. So if you send Perfect Foods Inc. a copy of your receipt with your order number for the bundle, they will give you 10% off any of the sprouting seeds from their store. So yeah, it's really cool.
I need to get some from them, definitely. I need more sprouting jars too, because I've been using mason jars, which are fine. Yeah. But like, I like sprouting jars. I don't know. I'm picky.
Like to nerd out on it.
I know. I'm like, this is my sprouting jar collection, and these are my mason jar collection.
Right? Totally, totally. Northern Dancer says she's under eating for sure. Yeah, I would suggest grabbing the app Chronometer and taking a couple days and just sitting with yourself and learning about what you're putting into your body. It's not something that we need to get obsessed with, but it's a learning tool. We want to
Yeah.
learn what kind of fuel we're putting in our bodies. So enter in everything that you eat and check out your fat percentage and what kind of foods you're eating and what kind of minerals and vitamins and all that good stuff that those foods are giving you. And then adjust. Be like, oh, I'm not getting enough calcium, so maybe I need to eat more greens. Maybe I'm not getting enough fiber. Maybe I need to add more veggies. I need more variety, that kind of thing. So it's very important to track in the beginning and just learn. It's all about learning. That's all it is.
Let's see. Sky Dance Pull Fit just said that they made their first batch of nice cream, and holy heck, so delicious. Yeah. What flavor did you make? I need ideas on what you think was so super good.
Oh, you got to make the blueberry lemon.
That I know. Those are my favorite flavors.
Or blueberry basil nice cream is really
Ooh, I have both of those things right now.
Oh, yum, yum, yum. And yes, this is the 32 ounce. I'll have 2 of these for breakfast. For
that's my breakfast size too. That's what I use for the breakfast.
Yeah. So 2, I would say 64 ounces.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Yeah.
Blueberries with lemon. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that sounds so good.
My favorite smoothie, aside from the chocolate one, this is basically just bananas, dates, cacao, and vanilla, and dates. So that's what this one is. That's one of my favorites. But my second favorite smoothie is 4 bananas, 2 cups of grapes, a cup of strawberries, 4 dates, and the juice of a lemon. I call it my grape candy smoothie. It is so good. I love it.
The other day I had a whole bunch of fruit chopped up, and I just put it into like a little Tupperware, and I didn't end up eating any of it. And so the next morning I was like, oh, and I just dumped it all into the blender. It was like grapes and strawberries. I've never had a blended grape smoothie ever, but I had like blueberry, all sorts of things to it. It was so good.
That is so awesome.
I'm not a big fan of grapes for whatever. I love wine, but I don't like grapes, and I hate raisins. But it was really good in the smoothie, so it's just always fun to like try out new things too.
Totally.
Oh, my mom is here. Hi,
Mom.
Hello. So yeah, the bundle's available through Sunday.
Yep.
So that's the last day to get it. It's in both of our bios, so whoever's page you're on, there's links in both of our bios. You can get it. If you have any issues or questions, you can DM either of us. We can definitely help with that. I got 3 days of work coming up, so let's see how it goes.
Looks like you're going to get some planning going on. Use the journal book. Use the journal book.
I'm going to.
You should fill it out. And this goes for everybody. I would absolutely love if people filled out their proactive page and took a screenshot and tagged me in your story. I'd love to see what you plan for the day. I'd love to see your breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and all that jazz. I would love to see it. So if you use the journal book, if you fill out any of the pages, take a screenshot and tag me in your stories. Love to see it.
I will. I definitely will. And again, that food journal comes in the bundle too. Yeah. So it's a ton of recipe books from a ton of awesome creators, and but it's also some really great reference and guides and stuff in there too. So there's so many great books in there.
I know,
right? So awesome.
Open a new one every week. Every Sunday you could open a new one, and you still wouldn't have gone through all of them in a year. Like there's 65.
My gosh.
So
that's
so crazy. It's awesome.
Thoughts on kombucha for gut health, Lissa? What do you think on that?
I personally don't do the kombucha. I've never really resonated with the kombucha. I'll drink it. Like if I'm at like a New Year's party and someone has some kombucha, I'll have a little sip or two here or there. Like I don't think it's evil. Obviously, I don't think anything's evil. I think it's all choices. What do you want for your health, right? So I will have a sip here and there, and I have, but I don't think that it's the greatest option. I watched this video that Dr. Greger did once, and he had like, it was like a yellow light or a red light food, and I was like, okay, I'll skip the kombucha. Yeah, it was really interesting. I'll have to find that and send it to you, but it was on his nutritionfacts.org. He's not really super pro kombucha. I, however, for gut health,
Oh
FaceTime me. Are we
no.
you get those spam messages? Yeah, someone was trying to phone me, and anyways, so for gut health, number one, you don't need kombucha, you don't need any of that. You just need to eat high fiber, more fiber to build those good bacteria, and lots of variety of different fibers, not just like mono-mealing mangoes forever. Like, we're talking like fiber, lots of different things in your salads, and work up to it. But if you wanted a little boost, Nate and I really like doing kimchi and sauerkraut. Those are our two fermented foods, and a little miso paste as well, because that's fermented soy sometimes. But we do fermented chickpeas. We get fermented chickpea miso. So yeah, those are some things that we do for our gut. But fiber is king of all. Fiber is the top #1 thing for gut health. Is, yeah, gotta eat your fiber.
Yeah, I know. I definitely will reach for kombucha. There's a local company called Hum here in Oregon. I really like their kombucha, and I definitely, when I'm feeling just kind of sluggy, or, you know, like maybe I feel like I might be getting sick or something, I'll definitely grab one of their kombuchas, and I feel like it does help. But yeah, like, why not just grab some freaking strawberries and
Chris is in the chat, and he's like, Lissa, I'm sorry, we need you to jump off the live.
All right.
Oh, all right. So I guess that's a sign that we've already been talking for an hour and a half. Okay, Chris. Okay, Chris. We'll say goodbye to Erin.
Bye, guys.
Mwah.
Thank you so much, Lissa. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Awesome. Give me 2 minutes, Chris. That's all good. All right. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.